Now that we've talked about Smart View and dimensions, let's talk about forms in the web page. We'll talk about Smart View for forms a little bit later. Okay, so we go ahead and press on our plan one, which is a plan that we're working on. So you'll go ahead and open up the forms folder right here. I have it already clicked. There's multiple folders that I've made already. You can create a folder by pressing this button right here. When you go into your forms right here, let's take a look at labor expense review. You can either create a form, edit a form, delete a form, move it to another folder, and uh, you can assign access. So let's go ahead and edit this form and take a look at what goes into a form. Okay, so you got your description and instructions down here. Layout is the most important, one of the most important parts. So you got your different dimensions here set up, all these little things. So right here we have our account dimension, we have our version dimension, our scenario dimension, our period dimension, and then or yes, this is our period dimension, and then we have year total, and then we have our entity dimension. So most of the time when you're working on a form, you'll have it in the working uh, version, and the scenario will completely depend on what type of report you're trying to create. So how to choose these different members inside of the dimensions? We'll click this drop down menu, and we'll go into the hierarchies. So we're trying to in this form, it's labeled labor expense review form. So we'll be looking at labor expense. So we'll go ahead and go into net income, gross income, expenses. And then what we do is we press on this right here and we'll add it over to the other side. So it's already added. We don't need to do this. Now, you can only add one member when it's at point of view. You can add two members when you pull it down and put it inside of page right there. And then you can add multiple members when you put it in page, and you can add multiple members when you put it down here as well. So the difference is all of these are completely inclusive. Right here we have, it says E total. So what it does, it says level 0 descendants at E total. So what it does is it displays all the level 0 descendants. And how we do that is we go ahead, go into entity, and we'll press function, and we'll press descendants including, which includes the highest value as well. And then we have our year total up here too. So we'll take a look at what this looks like once it's completely done. But wait, let's talk about these right here. So there's multiple different properties that you can go through and look at. For example, suppress missing blocks, enable autosave, dimensions. You can put the member name, the alias, which is what you'd like to put, so that it's that name that you put in instead of ALXP. You have labor expense instead, so it's easier to read. Segment properties, display properties, and so on and so forth. So other options. These are your decimal places that you'd like for your values to show. So you can change this up if you'd like. We have it set at 0 right now. Business rules. Okay, so what business rules are is it's calculation in the back end of the form. So the data from different forms can be multiplied together to create the values put into this present form. And we'll talk about how to create business rules later, but and we'll talk about how to deploy them later as well. But that's what a business rule is. So let's go ahead and take a look at what a form looks like. So if you go down to, you have forms up here where you can edit your forms and look at them. And if you come down here, you can look at the display of your form. So we're looking at the same form, the labor expense form. And if you take a look, we have, this is how it's set up. We put our entities on the left side. So we have all of our entities. Oops. So we have all of our entities at the level 0. As you can see, and then we have all of our period values at level 0 as well. So that's using forms inside of the web.